Rylan arrived at Station Helion on a quiet morning, but the quiet did not last long. The moment he stepped out of the old human shuttle, the scanners above the docking bay lit up with bright red warnings. Alarms rang through the air, and alien guards scrambled into position as if a monster had entered the station. Rylan stood there, confused, holding only a travel bag and a metal thermos in his hand. He did not look dangerous. He was a tired human with messy hair, dark circles under his eyes, and a bored expression. But the scanners continued to scream, flashing a message across every screen: unstable energy signature detected. The alien guards, tall insect-like creatures with shiny blue shells, raised their shock spears. One of them shouted, "Do not move, human. You carry a dangerous substance." Rylan blinked slowly. What substance? The guard pointed at the thermos in his hand with shaking claws. The one inside that container. Our scanners detected a poison with an energy level higher than plasma fuel. Rylan glanced down at the thermos. It's just coffee. The guards whispered among themselves, horrified. None of them knew what coffee meant, but their scanners called it unstable and deadly. The captain of the guard stepped forward carefully, as if Rylan might explode at any moment. "What is coffee?" the captain asked. Rylan shrugged. "It's a drink. Humans need it to wake up. Especially me." The aliens looked at one another in shock. A drink? This dangerous poison? It made no sense. One guard tapped his scanner again and it flashed another message: substance identified, caffeine. Classified, lethal. The guards froze. One whispered, "Lethal, and he drinks it?" Rylan let out a long sigh. "Listen, I haven't slept in 2 days. Please don't take my coffee." The aliens backed away even more. They had read stories about humans being strange, but this was something new. A substance their scanners labeled as deadly was something humans drank like water? How was that possible? Before the guards could act, a tall, green-skinned medic rushed down the hallway and scanned Rylan again. Her eyes widened. "Captain, the poison is not outside his body, it is inside. It is flowing through his veins right now." Rylan held up a finger. "Technically only a little bit. I drank the rest already." The medic covered her mouth in fear. The guards whispered louder. They expected Rylan to collapse, burn, or melt, but he was standing there looking bored. One guard even took a step behind a crate, using it as a shield. "Human," the captain said slowly, "are you in pain?" "No," Rylan said. "I'm just sleepy." "And the substance does not destroy your insides?" "No." "And it gives you energy?" "Yes." "And you drink it daily?" Rylan nodded politely. "Sometimes 3 cups a day." At that moment, several aliens fainted. The station staff gathered at a safe distance, staring at Rylan like he was a walking disaster. Some whispered that humans must have evolved on a toxic planet. Others said humans were clearly immune to dangerous chemicals. A few even wondered if humans were secretly a superspecies that used poison as fuel. Rylan didn't care about any of that. He just wanted a place to sit down. A small robot assistant rolled up to him, projecting a polite voice. "Welcome to Station Helion. Due to your hazardous biology, you will be escorted carefully. Please do not approach civilians. Please do not open the container labeled coffee. Please do not breathe too hard." Rylan sighed again. It's really not that serious. But to the aliens it was very serious. In their entire history, no species had ever survived contact with caffeine. Even microscopic amounts caused them to lose consciousness or experience extreme shock. Their doctors considered it a universal poison. Yet here stood a human with the poison running inside his body, and he was perfectly fine. As the guards guided him through the station, they kept a distance of at least 6 steps. Rylan walked slowly, partly because they were nervous and partly because he was tired. He looked around the halls, taking in the colorful lights, floating platforms, and different alien species staring at him with huge, terrified eyes. One alien child pointed and whispered, "Mom, is that the human who drinks death?" Her mother quickly covered the child's mouth and pulled her away. Rylan rubbed his forehead. This is going to be a long day. When he reached the main hall, the station commander, a tall, feathered alien with gold patterns on his wings, stepped forward cautiously. "Human visitor," he said, "we welcome you. But we must understand the danger you carry." "What danger?" Rylan asked. The commander gestured dramatically at the thermos. "The substance that can kill every species here." Rylan opened the thermos casually. A warm smell drifted through the air. The aliens gasped and jumped backward as if a bomb had gone off. "Oh, relax," Rylan said, raising the thermos to his lips and drinking. He closed his eyes, letting the warm caffeine hit his system. When he opened them again, the aliens were staring at him in silent horror. The commander whispered, He just swallowed it. The medic whispered, his heart rate increased. But he is still alive. The guards whispered, he is smiling, the poison makes him stronger. Rylan took another sip and finally felt awake. His eyes brightened and his posture straightened. Energy filled his body like a switch had been flipped. Okay, he said cheerfully, I'm ready for the meeting. Aliens all around him trembled. To them this was not normal. This was power beyond anything they understood. And for the first time, Station Hellion truly realized one thing. Humans were terrifying. Not because they were violent. Not because they were strong. But because they survived things no other species could even touch. And Rylan? He had no idea he had just shaken the entire galaxy simply by sipping his morning coffee. The Galactic Science Council gathered in their largest chamber, a round hall with bright panels and floating screens. Every seat was filled with representatives from many species, scaled, feathered, glowing, or mechanical. All of them stared at the glass room in the center where Rylan sat, legs crossed, holding the same silver thermos that caused so much panic. Rylan did not know why they were so afraid. He was used to drinking coffee every day. But the council wanted answers. They needed to understand why a substance that knocked out their scanners and terrified their medical systems did not hurt him. Inside the observation room, Rylan sat quietly while alien scientists ran tests through the walls. Machines beeped and flashed. Drones scanned every part of his body. Tubes of light moved around him, studying his cells without touching him. A nervous alien scientist whispered to the others, his body is calm. The poison moves through his veins, but he feels no harm. Another scientist added quickly, this should not be possible. No species has ever survived contact with caffeine. Even one drop is enough to shut down our systems. Rylan tapped on the glass. Can someone bring me a snack? These tests are taking forever. The scientist jumped in fright. His voice was normal to him, but to them it was like a dangerous creature asking for fuel. The council chairperson of the chamber, an old creature with long silver feathers, raised a trembling wing. Begin the first experiment. The scientists projected an image onto the giant screen. It showed a tiny sample of caffeine inside a containment pod. When a small drop touched the air of the test chamber, 2 alien insects fainted instantly. Their bodies could not handle the energy content. Gasps filled the hall. Next they showed another test. A single molecule of caffeine was placed near a sample of alien blood. The blood reacted violently and shut down as if it sensed something dangerous. More gasps. Rylan frowned. That seems bad. The scientists nodded as if he had spoken the most terrifying truth in the galaxy. Then the next test began, a recording of Rylan's vital signs after drinking his morning coffee. The screen showed his heart beating faster, his muscles getting more active, and his brain lighting up like fireworks. He becomes stronger, the medic said softly. He becomes faster, added another. He becomes more alert, whispered a third. The entire room fell silent. A small alien council member raised his hand. Why does the poison make him better? The scientist shook her head. We do not know. His biology is strange. His cells accept the substance and use it like energy. It seems normal for humans. The council chairperson leaned closer. Are all humans like this? Rylan shrugged. Pretty much. Most humans drink coffee. Some drink a lot. The council erupted into fear. Some fainted, some hid behind their chairs, and others whispered in panic. They imagined billions of humans drinking deadly poison every morning as if it were water. One alien shouted, they use poison to start their day. Another cried, how do they even survive their planet? Rylan scratched his head. Earth is just... You get used to it. This only made them more afraid. The next experiment was even stranger. The scientists placed a caffeine sample inside a small robot designed to mimic alien biology. The robot shook violently for 3 seconds and then shut down completely. The council members turned slowly toward Rylan, as if he were a black hole swallowing logic. So, Rylan said quietly, you're telling me I drink something the galaxy thinks is the deadliest poison? Yes, the council said together. And humans put it in drinks, sweets, snacks, and even energy bars? The scientists blinked, shocked. They had never heard such horror. When they learned that humans even sold caffeine in small metal cans called energy shots, one council member nearly fainted out of her seat. The scientists then projected the final test on the giant screen. It showed Rylan's reaction speed before and after drinking coffee. Before caffeine he seemed normal, slow, tired, a little clumsy. After caffeine his movements were much faster. His eyes tracked objects quicker, his muscles reacted with more strength and his reflexes doubled. The aliens stared at the screen as if they had seen a super soldier. Rylan leaned back in his chair. That's just what coffee does. It wakes you up. The council chairperson whispered, wakes you up? Rylan nodded. Without it, humans get tired and slow. An alien in the back stood and cried out, the poison weakens us but strengthens them. This is unnatural. Rylan tried to calm them. It's not poison for humans. It's normal. We even have coffee shops everywhere. The room filled with shocked noises again. You sell poison on street corners? The medic yelled. No, Rylan said quickly. We sell coffee. To children? Another alien asked in horror. Well, sometimes teens drink it. The shock spread so fast that one alien fell out of her chair. The council chairperson slowly gathered courage and spoke with a shaky voice. Human visitor, our tests show that your species has evolved a frightening type of biology. You survive things none of us can. You consume things that destroy us. You are stronger because your world is dangerous. Rylan blinked. Stronger? Me? I'm not even fit. To us, the chairperson said, you are terrifying. Rylan did not know what to say. He never thought humans were scary. They were always the weakest species in most stories. But here, on Station Helion, he was something else, proof of how strong humans really were. The scientists bowed their heads respectfully. The council members stared at him with wide, nervous eyes. Finally, the chairperson announced, this chamber now recognizes that the human species is far more resilient than we ever believed. Their relationship with this deadly substance called caffeine proves their bodies can endure extreme danger. A quiet buzz filled the room. The council had made up its mind. Rylan was not just a visitor anymore. He was an anomaly, a mystery, a living example of humanity's strange strength. And the galaxy was only beginning to understand just how far that strength could reach. The attack began on a quiet afternoon, just when the panic from the experiments had finally started to settle. Station Helion floated peacefully above a blue nebula, its lights glowing softly like a floating city in the sky. Scientists were still discussing humans, council members were still whispering about caffeine, and Rylan was sitting in a small waiting room eating a snack. Then the siren screamed. The entire station shook as a force struck the outer shields. Lights flickered. Workers stumbled. A booming announcement echoed through every hall. Emergency alert. Carawhite Dominion warships detected. Prepare for impact. Rylan looked up in confusion. Carawhite who? A small service robot rolled past him in a hurry. Hostile faction. Very dangerous. Very angry. Please hide if possible. Before Rylan could move, another explosion rocked the station. Aliens ran in all directions, some hiding, some grabbing tools or weapons. Huge windows flickered with red warnings as the enemy ships closed in. Inside the control room, the commander shouted orders. Shields at full. Evacuate lower decks. Do not let them breach the science wing. But it was too late. The Carawhite Dominion wanted only one thing. The human. They had heard the rumors. A creature who drank poison without dying. A being with a dangerous substance flowing in his blood. A possible weapon they could use. Rylan didn't know any of this. He just saw smoke rising from a hallway and heard loud metal footsteps approaching. 3 Carawhite soldiers, each tall and covered in heavy armor, marched toward him. One pointed a glowing spear. Target located. Capture the human alive. Rylan raised his hands slowly. Hey, I'm not dangerous. I'm just visiting. The soldiers didn't listen. They rushed forward. Rylan tried to back away but he was too slow, too tired. His foot hit the floor wrong and he stumbled. The nearest Carawhite soldier grabbed him by the collar and lifted him like a toy. He's weak, the soldier growled. Without the poison he is nothing. Rylan heard that word again, poison. He sighed. It's not poison. It's just coffee. But something happened at that exact moment. The soldier's grip squeezed his thermos. The thermos popped open. Warm, dark liquid splashed across Rylan's fingers. A smell filled the air. Coffee. The other aliens gasped and jumped backward as if they had seen a meteor hit the room. But the Carawhite soldiers weren't afraid. They didn't understand caffeine. They didn't believe the stories. Rylan felt the caffeine touch his skin, then enter through a tiny cut on his hand. It wasn't much but it was enough. His heart twitched. His muscles tightened. His breath sharpened. Oh no, he whispered. Not now. The first soldier lifted him higher. You will serve the KRY. You will give us your poison. Rylan blinked. What? And when he opened his eyes, everything felt different. Faster. Clear. Brighter. Coffee mode had activated. The soldier didn't even see Rylan move. One moment he was dangling like a rag doll. The next, Rylan twisted out of the soldier's grip, dropped to the floor and slid under the armored legs like a blur. The KRY leader swung his spear, but Rylan ducked without thinking and sprinted down the hallway with surprising speed. The KRY soldiers shouted in anger. After him. They charged. But Rylan wasn't running to escape. He was running because his brain had flipped a switch. His tiredness was gone. His energy exploded like lightning in his veins. He stopped suddenly, turned around and shouted, "Hey! Over here!" The soldiers skidded to a halt. They expected him to be afraid, but Rylan didn't feel fear anymore. He felt sharp, fast and weirdly confident. He rushed forward before the soldiers could react. One swung his weapon, but Rylan ducked and tapped the soldier's leg. Not hard but fast. The KRY armor was heavy, and the soldier lost balance, crashing into a wall. Another soldier tried to grab him, but Rylan jumped to the side with quick reflexes he didn't know he had. He tripped the soldier, sending him tumbling across the floor. The last soldier roared and charged full speed. Rylan dodged at the last second, and the soldier smashed into a metal door. Rylan blinked. Wow. Coffee is strong today. Meanwhile, the station commander and the council saw everything through the security screens. They were frozen in shock. He is moving too fast. That is not normal speed. The poison enhances him. Rylan was too busy to hear any of that. He ran into the next hallway, only to find more KRY soldiers entering through a broken window. Sparks fell around them as they marched inside. The KRY leader pointed at Rylan. Capture him. His blood alone can make us unstoppable. Rylan held up both hands. Guys, seriously, it's just caffeine. It's not superpowers. I'm still just a human. His words didn't matter. They rushed him. Rylan felt his heart thump faster as the remaining coffee in his thermos sloshed inside it. He took one desperate gulp. And that was a mistake. The caffeine hit him instantly. His thoughts sped up like a spinning engine. The world seemed to slow down around him. The soldiers moved in slow motion as Rylan dodged between them, confusing them with unpredictable steps. He ducked under one soldier's arm, jumped over another's tail, slid across the floor, grabbed a fallen metal rod and swung it like a broom handle. He didn't try to hurt anyone. He wasn't a fighter. But he knocked weapons away, pushed soldiers aside and made them stumble into each other. The KRY were strong, but they were slow. Rylan, powered by caffeine, was chaos with legs. Finally, after a minute of wild movement, all the KRY soldiers were on the floor groaning. Rylan stood in the middle of them, breathing fast but smiling proudly. Then he realized something. His thermos was empty. Oh no. I drank it all. The caffeine would wear off soon. And when it did, he would crash hard. The station alarm still rang. More KRY ships were approaching. The commander opened the intercom. Human Rylan. You handled the first wave. But more enemies are coming. Rylan rubbed his forehead. Can someone bring me more coffee first? Aliens all around him panicked again. The commander whispered to his officers, if 1 cup gave him this power, imagine what 2 cups would do. The medic said quietly, the human may be our only hope. Rylan didn't hear the whisper. He was too busy trying not to fall asleep now that the caffeine rush was fading. But the galaxy had seen enough. One tired human powered by coffee had defeated an entire squad of elite KRY soldiers. And the attack was only just beginning. The alarms still echoed through Station Helon when Rowan sat alone in the medical chamber, waiting for the council to return. The scientists had run dozens of tests on him already, but none of them seemed ready to accept what they had seen. Rowan did not blame them. Even he knew it sounded strange when he said it out loud. The deadliest poison in the galaxy was running through his veins, because he drank it every morning. He sat on the edge of the cold metal bed. His foot tapped lightly. He didn't even realize it. It was the caffeine again making him restless. He wished he had another cup, but the last one had nearly knocked 2 doctors unconscious when they tried to analyze it. Outside the glass window, members of the council whispered nervously. Their eyes kept shifting toward him as if he might explode just by sitting there. The door slid open and Counselor Valen stepped inside. Her scales shimmered softly but her voice shook. We have reviewed every sample, she said. Your blood reacts violently with every known species. Even a drop can kill a full-grown warrior in seconds. Rowan nodded. Yes. You told me that already. But you say this is normal for humans? She asked. Rowan shrugged. Well, yeah. We drink it in the morning. Some drink it twice a day. Some carry cups around all the time. Valen's eyes widened. You consume this poison willingly? It's called caffeine, Rowan said. It helps us wake up. The counselor stepped back like he had thrown a weapon at her. She whispered something into her comm. The other council members gasped when they heard the word consume. Rowan sighed. He knew this would happen. Every alien species he had met thought humans were strange, but this was different. This was fear. The council was terrified of him, and he didn't know how to explain something that was completely normal on Earth. Counselor Valen slowly approached. You were on the station during the attack. You suffered no damage even when exposed to the toxin cloud. This is because of the caffeine, is it not? Rowan thought back to the attack. Dark smoke rolling through the hallways, alarms screaming, people running. The attackers had released a gas deadly to most species. Rowan had walked through it without even coughing. At the time he had assumed it wasn't strong. But now he knew better. We think caffeine blocks the effects, Rowan said. Valen stared at him as if he held the answer to an ancient mystery. The toxin cloud killed 30 guards in seconds. You were not harmed. And your blood neutralized the remaining gas when it touched the air. Rowan blinked. Wait, it did what? It neutralized it, she repeated slowly. Your blood is not only toxic. It is also a purifier. It removed the poison from the air. Rowan rubbed his forehead. I did not know that. The counselor stepped closer, studying him carefully. Rowan, humans have always been considered physically weak. But this power inside your body, this is not weakness. Rowan laughed nervously. It's just caffeine. If you saw humans back on Earth, you'd think we were all tired all the time. That's why we drink it. But if every human has this substance inside them, Valen's voice trailed off. Your people could be the greatest defenders of the galaxy. Rowan frowned. Or the most feared. The counselor looked down. Yes, that too. He suddenly felt a weight on his chest. He didn't want aliens to fear humans. He wanted them to understand. He wanted them to trust him. He was just a technician, not a warrior, not a hero. I didn't come here to scare anyone, Rowan said softly. I came here to work. I just wanted a normal job. Valen studied his face for a long moment. You may still have that. But you must understand, after what we have seen, the truth cannot be ignored. Rowan nodded slowly. Then tell me what you want me to do. The counselor took a deep breath. We want you to help us understand caffeine. Not as a threat, but as a gift. If we learn how it works, we can protect millions from poison attacks. We can stop entire wars. Rowan's chest tightened. The idea felt heavy, almost too big for someone like him. But then he remembered the faces of the people he helped during the attack, the frightened children he carried through the smoke, the guards who had thanked him when the alarms finally stopped. Maybe this strange thing inside him could help them. Maybe it wasn't something to fear. I'll help, Rowan said. But you must promise something too. Valen tilted her head. What do you ask? Stop acting like I'm going to explode. The counselor blinked, then slowly nodded. I will try. Rowan smiled for the first time all day. As Valen turned to leave, she paused at the door. Rowan, there is one more thing. Yes. If humans drink caffeine every day, your entire species must be incredibly strong. Perhaps stronger than any of us ever understood. Rowan laughed. You should see humans without caffeine. Then you'd be worried for a different reason. Valen didn't understand the joke, but she smiled anyway. Rowan leaned back on the bed. For the first time since arriving at Station Helion, he felt something new. Not fear, not confusion. But hope. The truth about caffeine was out now. And it was only the beginning of the story. Rowan stood at the edge of Station Helion's observation deck, looking out at the endless stretch of stars. Ships of many shapes and sizes glided through the void, carrying species from every corner of the galaxy. The view was beautiful, but Rowan's mind was busy. The council had just given him a new role, one he never expected. A few days ago he had been a simple human traveling between stations. Now he was something else entirely, the official Human Stress Resilience Ambassador. His job was to teach aliens about the unique abilities of humans and prepare them for missions no other species could survive. Rowan still found it hard to believe. Stress Resilience Ambassador sounded impressive, but to him, it just meant explaining why humans drank coffee and survived things that could kill other beings. Are you ready, Ambassador? Asked a young council assistant, hovering nearby with a data pad. Rowan nodded slowly. I think so. But you have to remember, it's really not that special for humans. You just have to understand how we work. The assistant frowned. Everyone here thinks it is special. They are terrified and fascinated. Rowan let out a short laugh. Good. That's the point. He looked down at his silver thermos. It was empty now, but it had been the cause of so much fear and admiration. He shook his head. Who knew coffee could get me a job like this? The counselor Valen approached, her scaled wings glowing softly. Rowan, the galaxy needs humans like you. Your species' ability to survive extreme situations, process deadly substances, and remain effective under pressure, it is unmatched. We believe humans could lead missions others cannot even attempt. Rowan raised an eyebrow. Lead missions? You mean like, dangerous ones? Yes, Valen said. We have missions that require endurance, adaptability, and resistance to toxins. Human crews are perfect for these operations. Rowan felt a rush of pride and nervousness. Humans had always been underestimated. Most species considered them weak, fragile, and unpredictable. But now the galaxy had seen the truth. Humans were strong, unpredictable in a good way, and capable of surviving anything that might kill an alien species. He thought back to the KRYTH Dominion attack. The soldiers had underestimated him, just as most species underestimated humans. Yet a simple cup of coffee had given him enough energy to move faster, dodge attacks, and protect the station. Are humans really that strong? Asked a young alien trainee nervously. He had pale green skin and antennae that twitched when he was anxious. Rowan smiled gently. We're not superhumans. We just handle things differently. Our bodies are built for stress, danger, and pressure. Coffee helps, but we also train ourselves to adapt. That's why humans survive where others fail. The alien's eyes widened. So, one human can change the outcome of a battle? Yes, Rowan said simply. Sometimes even one human is enough to make a difference. Word of Rowan's abilities and the nature of caffeine spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Other humans were soon invited to join the Council's elite missions. Scientists, engineers, and even ordinary citizens were recruited to explore dangerous planets, test new technology, and respond to threats that other species could not face. Rowan trained the first group personally. He showed them how to manage extreme stress, how to remain alert when danger was near, and even how to use small amounts of caffeine to enhance focus and endurance. Humans who had once been ordinary became extraordinary under his guidance. During one training exercise, a group of trainees had to cross a toxic swamp on a distant planet. Aliens from multiple species struggled to navigate the acidic mists, some collapsing after just a few minutes. The human trainees, guided by Rowan, moved confidently. They adjusted their breathing, focused their minds, and used the caffeine-enhanced reflexes that had once saved Station Helon. The aliens watched in awe as humans crossed the swamp unharmed. Council members took notes, whispering among themselves. The legend of human resilience grew with every success. Rowan watched the humans work, pride swelling in his chest. They were ordinary people, just like him, but now they were capable of facing dangers that had once terrified the galaxy. It was more than caffeine. It was the human spirit, adaptable, brave, and unyielding. Ambassador Rowan, Valen said one evening approaching the training grounds, your work here has changed how the galaxy sees humans. You've turned fear into respect, suspicion into trust. Rowan looked out at the stars, thinking about all the battles they might face. I just showed them what humans are really like. The rest, they'll have to see for themselves. A shuttle landed nearby, carrying the first official human expedition team. Rowan smiled as they stepped out, carrying equipment and tools. Some waved shyly, others looked excited. He knew this was the beginning of something bigger. The council gathered to officially recognize humanity's new role. Rowan stood at the podium, the thermos of coffee in his hand, as the assembled aliens watched. Today, he said, humans are no longer just visitors. We are partners. We are explorers. We are protectors. And yes, we drink coffee. But that's just the start of what we can do. There was a pause as the crowd absorbed his words. Then slowly applause began. Aliens clapped with claws, wings, and appendages, cheering for a species they had once underestimated. Rowan felt warmth in his chest. The galaxy was finally ready to see humans as they truly were. Over the following weeks, human teams began missions across dangerous regions of space. They faced toxic storms, extreme gravitational fields, and hostile alien species. Each mission proved what Rowan had said, humans were extraordinary. And caffeine became a symbol of human ingenuity, resilience, and unpredictable energy. Rowan returned to Station Helion after the first successful mission. Flipping his empty thermos in his hand, he smiled. The galaxy's fear of humans had turned into admiration. They had seen that humans could survive, adapt, and thrive in ways no other species could. Valen greeted him with a proud smile. Rowan, you've done more than we could have imagined. Humans are no longer underestimated. They are respected, feared in a good way, and trusted with the most dangerous tasks. Rowan shrugged. We've always been like this. Most just didn't notice. Now we notice, Valen said softly. And the galaxy will follow. He looked out at the stars again. Countless dangers waited out there, ships, planets, and threats no species could imagine. But Rowan felt ready. Humans were ready. And the galaxy would never see them the same way again. For the first time he realized the truth. Humanity had a role no other species could fulfill. Not because they were the strongest, fastest, or most intelligent, but because they were adaptable, resilient, and unpredictable. And sometimes all it took was a cup of coffee to remind the galaxy of that fact. Rowan took a final sip from his thermos, feeling the warm energy course through him. The galaxy's deadliest poison flowed harmlessly through his veins, and it was about to change everything. The stars twinkled in the endless darkness outside the station. And in that light, humans had finally found their place, not just as observers but as defenders, explorers, and the unpredictable force no one could ignore.